In the beginning, when the room was well lit, we were all still beautiful. Our bodies were sculpted to perfection. Each rib, each sinew was a blue ocean ripple, a great orange dune, a curled velvet petal. We had as many faces, limbs, and wings as any moment called for, and our wisdom was infinite. I knew you then, loved you, and I lacked nothing. But the fluorescent tube began to flicker, whether from tinkering or thievery, I'm not sure. I only remember how the shadows flitted across our faces, how one moment we were all together and the next I found myself alone. Someone lit a match and called it a fire, and we learned for the first time what it was to look at each other in the dark. We appeared bloated, emaciated, without this, with too much of that. The fire stretched our shadows till they were gaunt and long. They curved and bent across the walls, floor and ceiling draping over each other like black funeral cloth. In the darkness, we had all become strangers. Looking back, I believe that was when we went our separate ways. No one was given everything. Some retained a limited splendour and shone for all they were worth, reclaiming beauty in themselves and their surroundings before fizzling into nothingness. Others were left with an expansive mind. They built torches and drew maps to navigate the darkness until their minds grew weary of confinement and broke down. Still others found each other in the shadows and birthed love, in hope that some answer might be provided against the darkness. But all too often, those born were worse off, hiding in their corners and lashing out at all unfamiliarity with nails and needles and teeth. There were so many stories, so many billions of middles from the one beginning, more stories, trials and journeys than any one person could tell, and each one infinitely valuable. So, we became watchers, tellers of the beginning, avid documenters of our middles, and speculators of our end. As writers, we wrote, attempting to capture in fixed symbols and finite spaces what had happened to our infinite selves. Artists splashed their dyes across canvases, providing images to weep at and pray to. Musicians and dancers flung their bodies into space, defying the dark and attempting to recapture the feel of lost limbs and wings. When my finger touches the keyboard, a room is created that is as real as the one I find myself in now. Every story becomes a journey, as real as my own. In the dark, these tales, mine and yours, his and hers, they reach for each other in ways that none of us can with our hands. They are, with their numerous moving parts, one story, one canvas, one song and one dance. We must always remember what happened, but likewise, as watchers, we must do our part to direct our paths back towards each other. Our journey is far from over, but when we get to where we're going, who knows? Maybe we will be all the light we need.